Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unconditional Surrender, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the Thousand Year Reich series, and we are getting ready to go into July of 1940. France fell in June of 1940. A couple of spectacular 5+5 to 1+1 die rolls made it possible for the French to not hold up even for 2 fair weather turns. So we will go ahead and get started here. I don't know. So I have no idea what this is. Believe he declares war on Hungary. Yes, he's declaring war on Hungary. So, I mean, there's not a lot you can do here to set up the Hungarians. It's just like, especially with that armored sitting there. And then, what do we do next? I think we go. And I pointed out to him that that guy can't leave because he's part of the East Front thing. And he was like, yeah, I understand. No declarations of war. We go to national Wilts tracks, so things are not as good for the British. They're down to 6 factories, so they should only have 12. No, I'm down to 7, I'm sorry. Down to 7, so I have 14. Germans have... they have 28 because 15 minus 1 is 14. But they give 1 to the Italians because the Italians are having problems in North Africa. And... so we go strategic warfare for the West. I'm at 0. He's also at 0 because he doesn't have Brest and he doesn't have a unit in Stavanger yet. He goes ahead and plays his subs. He rolls a 6. I rolled a 6, half to a 3, so I lose factory. And his subs come back in 4 turns, so... strategic movement for the Axis. And he moved the 1st Panzer to Catania. So instead of it being up here to make short work of the Hungarians, he's going to depend on the German infantry to do that. So I was a little surprised by that, but he wants to get that Panzer into North Africa to recover the situation down here, I guess. West. So I went ahead and said, okay, leaving my airplane down there in the south is not going to do me any good. So I went ahead and just ran it up out of range of his airplanes. I didn't have the points last turn to flip it up, so I just figured I'd get it out of the way. Probably won't have the points to flip it up this turn either. So now we're into Axis operations. So I take that airplane, and this is the blunder that loses the West, as you will see. So wait a minute, I don't want to move that. Moves that into there. Then it comes at my fleet at +2 to +2. 5 to a 7, 1 each. +1 each. Now he comes in here and brings in another airplane to just south of Le Havre. Then he decided he didn't want to do that. He took this thing first. and captured Le Havre. Then he moved the airplane to Le Havre, and then he attacked home fleet. He rolled a 5 plus 1 is a 6, and of course I rolled a 1 plus 1 is a 2. So I took 2 and he only took 1. Then he attacked me again at 0. Let's see, I'm at -1 net. And he's at +2 because he's an extra +1 because of the attacking the fleet with an airplane. So he rolled an 8, and I rolled a 5 minus 1 is a 4, so I take 2 more. And he goes, okay, I'm done with that. And then he attacks, I think he's now going after the convoy. If I remember right, he goes after the convoy once. He rolls a net of 3, and I roll a 6 minus 2 is a 4, so I take 1 sortie. Did he come after me again? I think he came after me one more time. Rolled a 1, I rolled a 2, so he's... Then he goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is stupid. That was the major blunder, leaving my fleet in range of his aircraft. There is no reason ever, take note, Western players, there is no reason ever to have the home fleet sitting in Brest. Once you put the convoy in Brest, you put home fleet up here in Edinburgh. It's out of the range of his aircraft, and it protects C-Zone 10 from invasions and supply. Yes, C-Zone 7 is open, but if he wants to come in through the Plymouth Promontory, it's fairly easy to contain him there and not have to worry too much about what he's going to do to you. This is a blunder that is just beyond compare. Then, to compound it, I put the convoy in Glasgow. There's no reason for this convoy to go to Glasgow. It needs to go get troops. It should go to Gibraltar. So Lord Halifax was made Prime Minister, and he shook up the Navy organization, and they didn't do their job. So onwards we go. He puts down his control markers. And then he takes the convoy because there's nothing to intercept it. Moves that guy in to take Stavanger and comes back out. And now he should be taking his convoy. What's he doing? Oh, he moves an airplane up to Königsberg. Down here. And he moves the Romanians. Started moving that way. That's... realized he couldn't go that way, so he had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, so he could attack the Hungarian garrison. 5, 6, 7, so he attacks. He's at minus... I'm at -2, and he's at -1. We go to combat commitment. He threw a ground support, I did not, so he stayed at 0. He rolled a 1, I rolled a 3, -2. And then his ground support's coming back in 6 turns. Then he moves the German infantry. 1, 2, 3, so he's got 5 movement points left. He attacks. I'm -2. He's at +2, and I don't think we committed here. I know I didn't, and he did not either. So it was +2 to -2. Rolled a 6 + 2 is an 8. I rolled a 4. -2 is a 2, so I'm eliminated. Moves forward. He has 5 movement points left, so he goes ahead and takes a shot at taking out Hungary. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He should only have 2 movement points left. Damn! Oh, he attacks the Hungarian. That's what he did. He attacked the Hungarian because he wants to get an isolated. That's what it was. So he got an 8 to my, 1, so it dies again. Now he has his last attack here at +3, and I'm at 0. And so I'm going to be, he throws an airplane, I throw in ground support. So he's at 3, 4, 5. No, he didn't throw in his airplane, which I found odd. I thought for sure he would throw in his airplane at that point. But he didn't. So, and he rolled a 5 and I rolled a 4, so nothing happened. And my ground support's coming back in 6 turns. And now the Italian Air goes for a ride. Flies down to Palermo. Now he brings the German convoy out of Norway into Cherbourg. Takes a sortie. Said both cities, London is a factory. Said if you don't take London when you attack, then you'll be at low supply. If you take Southampton, you'd at least be in supply. So he had to make a decision. He said, surprise attack marker, I'm going to go after London. This is the third blunder for the British. Again, Western allies, pay attention. You can prevent this from working by simply placing home guard there. He can land here, but he can't advance. He can't get to this sea zone up here. If he lands there, he has to attack you. If he lands here, he has to attack you. He can't get to London. So there's a third error in a row that I made. And I had the production points to do all this. There's no excuse for this other than just plain horrible play on my part. I think we went to combat commitment, which was, again, it's a no-brainer. He's going to throw in his airplane. So he is 4, 5, 6, -1 for the city, -1 for attacking an enemy in an amphibious assault. He does not get the +2 for his, he didn't have his surface action marker to play. So he's just going on the +4 to +1. He's a +3 net difference between us. It's 4, 5, 6, -2. He should be +4. Why is he only +3? Why is he only +3? I'm really confused. He should be +4. There we go, +4. And he rolls a 9. And I roll a 5, so I'm retreated. And he takes the hex. Which takes Western allies. He moves his convoy in there. Takes the Western allies down. Moves that guy off to the east. Where are we at here? Oh, he's moving, I think. Yeah. He moves this Italian up to try and get close to Benghazi. And then he flew his Italian air. I think he was thinking about flying his Italian air. I think he was done. I don't remember him flying his Italian air down there. Maybe he did. I think he did to try and guarantee supply because he's only got the convoy and the airplane. I'm not really sure. And then he said, no, I don't want to put my airplane down there. He wanted to get it down to less sorties because he would have been -4 against +2 and then -6 to +1. And he's like, that's not going to work. So he chose not to do that. Now I think he's doing his supply down here. And I'm not sure which one it is, but he's -6 on both convoys. put himself up to 6 sorties. Oh yeah, that was my Force H attacking him. And we figured it out. I was plus 2 for carrier, -2 for sorties, +2 for British. So I was at +2. Minimum I could get is a 3. And he was a -6. So he took the sortie. Took the 2 sorties there. And then tried to run this one over here. And I'm only a +1. But it's a 6, so I guarantee to take those sorties out. But then I'm at 4 sorties. So all of his units are... He can keep 2 units at low supply from Tripoli. And now we are into the Western Allied subphase. So this guy here is going to be at no supply. So at the no supply phase, he'll be flipped. So then I saw something and I'm like, okay, England is invaded. Shit's hit the fan up here. I have no way of stopping this invasion. I can try and contain it a little bit. But I saw a chance to try and do something that in the end will give me about a 47% chance of sealing off North Africa. And so you'll see that now. Western Desert Forest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, taking away one of his ports, keeping that Panzer away from me. And then 8, 9, 10 to go ahead and attack the low supply guy. So I'm at a 0. He's at a -4. Or a -2 because he's at full strength, right? And then so wait a minute, I get to attack here. So 5, I rolled a 5, he rolled a 3 -2. So it recounted for him since I had 3 left to attack you. So I pushed him back. All I got was a retreat, but hey. He's now doesn't have a way of running around to isolate me at Benghazi either. And then I moved this guy here. And I moved this guy up there. And then I attacked, which was really kind of a pointless thing. I'm -1, +1, +2 for isolation. So -1 +3. So I'm at +2, +2 for an airplane. And then -1 for the city. So it's 1, +1 here, +2, +2, +5, -2. I'm only at +3, and he's still at full, so he's going to be a 4, or he's going to be +2, so the minimum is going to be is a 3 minus a 3 halved to a 2. So I have to roll extremely high, he has to roll extremely low. The idea was if I get a lucky break here, I flip him, and then in the no supply phase he disappears. So then I only have to keep his Panzer from getting into Brook for 1 turn, and then I can take it in my turn. That was the idea of the attack. It's really kind of pointless. I probably should have just saved the airplane resource, but I didn't. So here's me setting the numbers. More than +2. Maybe I only attacked with 1 guy. Did I only attack? Oh, I could only attack with 1 guy. The 10th couldn't attack. That's why it was a silly attack. I shouldn't have even bothered. But I did my part. I rolled a 6 +2 is an 8, halved down to a 4. But he didn't do his part. He rolled a 6 +2, halved down to a 4. So, nothing happened. Then I moved this convoy. To here. Yes. This convoy has 0. So here's where I go. So I moved the fleet out of Alexandria with the convoy into the Malta. Now, knowing that England's probably going to get conquered, I shouldn't do this. I should say the surprise attack marker to make it easier for me to get back into England. But I also saw a chance here. It's 17 in 36 shot. So I went for it. Here's the surprise attack marker. I declare my intentions of invading that hex. So everybody comes out, And this is where we had a little bit of disagreement. He tried to come after me with his airplane. He actually rolls the dice. And then I tell him, it doesn't matter if I go out of 6 sorties, I'm still able to invade and get the +2. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't do that then. I'm like, but you've already rolled the dice. But I let him take it back. I should not have. He went ahead and intercepted with the fleet just to put a sortie on me, but it doesn't matter. I'll still be at 5 sorties. Unless he intercepts with the airplane as well. So, anyway, here's the invasion. -1 because I'm the Malta guy. And then +2 for the Navy. And then -2, -1 for the invading, attacking unit and invasion, and -1 for the city. So I ended up at a net -1. However, he's at a net -4 because he's already used his tank to defend Brook. So when you work that out, it's a 17 in 36 chance that I can take the hex. And then I roll a 2. -1 is a 1. No chance of taking the hex at all. Malta goes back and sits in Malta, as well as the fleet and the convoy. Then the convoy is going to move away, maybe. What's going on here? Oh, he attacked it with his airplane and didn't hurt it. And then the fleet moved back to Alexandria. And then the Greeks went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and attacked there. So they are -1. And I threw the ground support in to be +1 to his -4. I rolled a 6. And he rolled a 3. -4 is a 1, so that's a DD, so that's actually eliminated. Take the hex. There's ground support. Comes back in 2 turns. And like that. So it was a desperate gamble to take Tripoli and seal off North Africa. I thought if I could seal off North Africa, even if I end up losing England, I would have like the Western Desert Force over here to defend against the Turks descending from the north. And I could hold out for a while. Was it a good idea? Probably not. With the threat of England falling, I should have held the surprise attack marker in my pocket. Saved these 2 points that I spent here attacking here. I shouldn't have spent this point here. Because then I could have probably brought back the BEF right away. Which I couldn't do. I could have done a couple of other different kinds of things. But so I take up these guys to supply these 3. And then this one over here supplied the Western Desert Force. The action subphase. Soviets didn't do anything again, so we go into... In the no supply phase, the Italians have to be flipped because they're in no supply. And then this guy here, he had a navy here, had 6 sorties on it. This thing, not the convoy, the fleet, and he just said, send it to my build box. I can go build it where I want it in a turn or so. And we put him down to 4 sorties. No supply phase for me. Replacements for the Axis. So, he gets his convoy down. Gets his airplanes down. Italians reset themselves and Western Allies. I flipped over the BEF. Now, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have done the home fleet. I should have just left it alone. I should have done the convoy. Again, dumbass mistakes. Then I did the convoy that was supplying the Western Desert Force. Because if I hadn't done the fleet, I could have either flipped this airplane or another convoy or something like that, and I don't know why I wasn't paying attention to my builds. I was very upset at the end of this turn. The complete stupidity of my play basically ruined what looked to be an interesting game. It now turned into being a farce, as far as I'm concerned. Because he's going to conquer England, and I'm not going to be able to do a thing about it, because I didn't take care of the fleet. And we get to mobilization, the Italian army. Should have been in the eliminated box. Yeah, I'm going to say that killed that last turn. And, there's no mobilization. There's lots of garrison armies to build when he gets around to it. What is all this stuff? Oh yeah, it's 4th Fleet, okay. Now I think we're into end of turn phase, so we're taking back our markers. Oh, yeah, we need to get into the diplomacy phase here. Did we not do anything in the diplomacy phase? Oh no, I think we went blowing right through, and we backed up and said, wait a minute, we forgot to do diplomacy. So, so he pulls, gets a no event, and the Russians have to do their thing, and they put the 2 no events back in the cup, trying to keep the Germans from activating any more allies. Now we're at end of turn phase, which we've pretty much already done. We go into August. We know what the weather is going to be in August of 1944. So we go to declaration of war phase. Put my stuff in the box. And he's talking about, I'll just run over you and go run all and take all this stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, then I take that. He goes, well, I'll bring stuff in. And I've got a fleet. No, I'll bring stuff in. So there you have it. July 1940. Great Britain is on the verge of being conquered. Due to very poor play on the part of the West. Not by any brilliant stratagem of the Germans. It was just very poor play by the West. Anyway, I'm Dren608, and I'm the West, by the way. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button to keep this up for YouTube algorithms, to keep it up for everybody else to be able to see. And until we meet again, so long, and bye-bye.